There we go. Sorry about that. Again, shitty poor person internet. Um, let's see. What were we doing? We were doing something productive, weren't we? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna need probably a terminal. Sure. Yeah, poacher shell, right? Okay. And can we? Oh, should we add sage attention? Is that how you do that? Cool. No, don't do it. Of course it's a dependency, right? Okay, well, we're probably going to cut out here in just a sec. I believe it's going to take us till end of stream to actually install CUDA successfully. Sorry. Such as it is, I guess. Fuck, that's a banger too. Holy shit. Well, even if we can't get anything done today, we got some fucking banger tunes out of it, so. Not the end of the world, eh? Holy shit, are we gonna get all the way through a download? Oh my god, without dropping connection? While streaming? I've become rich. Bandwidth rich beyond my wildest dreams. Thank you, Xfinity. Absolute legend. Absolutely massive. Wowzers, true, Nick. What are we making here? Why is your chat not showing up either? That's what I'm wondering. Is this? We're gonna continue to freeze a lot because I have really shitty internet. Yeah, it's all your fault, Nick. It's all your fault, you son of a bitch. How dare you? Um, well, I would love to put your chat onto the screen, but it's not. Oh, I wonder if I could maybe change. Can I like do like embed in stream and like copy this over here? And then maybe it should, oh, maybe I'll do a second browser thingy. So that while it's, let's do that. Okay. And then, oh god, that chat is huge. Holy fuck. And it's completely opaque. Oh god. Miserable, dude. How do people do this? In terms of what we are making, I guess, for any who have survived, because I presume that the stream dropped again, and it is not going to this is a wonderful beautiful platform that basically doesn't work at all. So anytime I drop connection, it starts a whole new stream. So I'm presuming there's nobody here. So I'll wait for somebody to re-ask the question should we find it interesting. But at the moment, we are not really doing anything interesting because it's probably trying to. What is it trying to do? Hello? There we go. Okay. So I don't even know if I want to try and install, honestly. Remind me to get that shit figured out before stream next time. Because my precious bandwidth will not tolerate it. But I guess I can say what the plan theoretically was going to be, or is, or what have you. If there is a, I don't know. Okay, now there's like 5 eyeballs according to Restream, so there's probably like 300 over on X, but I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna pretend there's only 5 people here. And I guess maybe it's because I think I'm gonna wrap up stream just in a few minutes here. So maybe it'll be good to do a recap. Although I hate that every fucking time I sit down to do this, I don't ever end up actually writing code. But just to clue us in here. So the general goal. Let me grab Obsidian real quick. The general goal is, can we make a very fast, very good language model that anybody can contribute GPU power to, that we can give away for free, and ideally that we can pay people to use by contributing their data back to the language model willingly, rather than scraping it aggressively off the internet without any regard to copyright or really any other moral quandary that might be considered past the fun one that's the fun one to talk about, which is like whether it's gonna paperclip us all to death. But the idea being, you know, OpenAI has bajillions of dollars and 200,000 researchers on deck. I have the threat of a cardboard box and a tendency to hyperfixate on new ML papers. So me and Sam are going to race to see if he can take over the world first, or if I can give away a model better than his for free to everybody first. That's the plan. Me and Sam talked about it, actually. We're in cahoots. He knows he needs some worthy competition, and he thought, who better to try and compete with than a fucking anime profile picture, except it's not anime. I mean, technically it's a trading card game. Profile picture person on the internet. So I don't know, you can write that down in your lore or make a fucking meme coin about it or whatever. Too soon. But yeah, has been the plan for a while. This is a plan that I'm just going to keep doing, you know, regardless of whatever, whether I have $1 billion or $0. In the event that I can do that, then what that is a like fairly valuable actual product that could in theory generate revenue that could be then donated to a nonprofit that can continue to try to fund things like that, basically. Or whatever, you know, fuck it. We can just all have infinite free AI on all of our devices that doesn't fucking report back to any external servers, and then I can be happy and go to sleep or whatever it is that normal people do that aren't trying to do this. As the basic outline, I suppose. So, specifically, and I guess, let's see. not to go back over the whole cake, but we have a little diagram here of a bunch of weird shit that if you stack it all together, you can, in theory, provided these research papers aren't blatant lies, which a lot of them are these days, um, and provided that they all play nice with each other, um, some combination of all of them put together should result in like a very fast, very good small language model, which we can then use like the two that are like part of the plan right now are Prime Intellect and BitTensor or BitTensor, because those are the two organizations that I know of. But if you are one of those organizations, please do get in touch, because I maybe don't know all of them. But those are the two that I know of that are currently doing like billion parameter scale distributed training, or at least attempting it. Oh yeah, let's see. Building Azure in public arc. I mean, kind of. Like, it can be for Azure. It can be for, I don't know, something to help your grandma. It can be for a thing that you can actually take to work that isn't feeding all your code to the OpenAI servers. But the big thing is it should be good, it should be fast, it should run on anything, and it should be free. And ideally, it should pay you to use it instead of you paying for it. And also, it shouldn't steal any of your data. That's the overarching goal. And yeah, if in the event, that wasn't directly part of the plan, but that's a good point. That I think most of the like prompt work, Azure-wise, and cognitive architecture stuff that they've been faffing around with, is largely based on OpenAI models and like, the big boys. But it would be nice to be able to like do that locally and watch the weights and like see what we can learn from a like research perspective, about trying to do a complex cognitive architecture with models that you could train on consumer hardware. And like it can, since Azure is like a separate thing from this, like Azure this is, I guess, for any like crypto native people here, I guess, rather than like AI people, Azure and or ChatGPT, if you wanted to like get super super simple with it, like ChatGPT is a website, just sits on the web, and like there's a thing behind it that like does all the writing of the tokens. There's like there's a balloon, and then there's a water, and the water has to fill up the water balloon for you to get your ChatGPT. So what the prompt in cognitive architecture and stuff, I know at least for Prometheus's prompt stuff, it has been like it's been the GPT models for the most part. I think probably a little Claude too. I know Backrooms is Claude 3.5 Sonnet primarily, and then the Agent Forge guys, which I presume will be like the framework we use to put together a cognitive architecture, because that's kind of like what they're oriented around. They're kind of like a LangChain, except instead of LangChain being like, all over the place and like giant and like trying to do 2,000 billion things at once, which Harrison is doing an excellent job of, I will say. But the so that would be like the orchestration, and that presumably like is oriented around being powered by GPT or Claude Sonnet. But the thing that I am working on right here is, can I make something that is just as good or better, and can I do it in a way where I can either give it away for free or I can pay people to use it instead of having to pay 80 bajillion dollars to OpenAI or whomever. See, does it really matter? A lot of crypto like Claude, but for Palantir they use GPT-4. Well, in terms of frontier models, like, it's kind of pick your poison. Like, the interesting things on that side lately have been Claude 3.5 Sonnet is really, really good, and everybody loves it, and it's great at coding. It does some weird shit when you put it in Minecraft, but you can do your own research on that one. And GPT-4o is like cool, but generally kind of stupider than Sonnet is kind of the general thought at the moment. But OpenAI is trying their darndest to make it good with things like the advanced voice mode, and the other edge that they have right now is O1 Mini and O1 Preview. And the interesting thing about those is that they are smarter. They're even smarter than Claude, kinda maybe. But that's because they do a thing that none of the other models do, which is, like, presumably natively think about stuff. Like, it's part of how they're training the model in order to get it to think about stuff. So, like, I guess to do AI 101, if I tell ChatGPT, build me Netflix, it's not going to be able to do that, and it's just going to make shit up and throw me whatever it just comes up with. Kind of like if I told you, like, tell me everything you, like, build me this thing, and you just started, like, babbling without thinking, right? That's what it does. Unless you tell it, think step by step. Or you might have heard the fun ones that are like, I'm going to tip you $200, take a deep breath, etc., etc. There's a lot of, like, fun stuff you can pick out of the internet to find. But what that is something that has sort of been colloquially termed chain of thought. And the thing that it does is, one of the things that we've basically found out about language models is that you need to give them time to think. And if you do, then they will make less shit up, and they will be better at, like, actually doing the thing you want them to do. So that's been a thing for ages and ages. We've known about that, like, since around ChatGPT first came out. But the thing that OpenAI supposedly has done here is integrate that chain of thought into how they are training the model, rather than finishing training the model and then telling it, hey, like, why don't you think about some stuff? They're, like, training it on a data set that's, like, full of things that are, like, examples of thinking about stuff, basically. And this, among other things, and they haven't shared exactly what they're doing, but I am fairly confident that they are not doing everything that everyone that's weirdly hyper-fixated on this on the internet is doing at the same time. So my presumption is, if I were to find enough of those things and be able to put them all together, then there will be some things that OpenAI has not put together. And while they might have more money than God, they don't have weirdly hyper-fixated basement dwellers on the internet that are dedicated to doing cool shit. Partially for the sake of doing cool shit, and partially because I think it's shitty to, like, hey, we scraped the entire internet and made the true, Nick, fucking true. It's the superpower, baby. Like, with great power comes great responsibility, and or a great ability to miss social cues, one of the two. Possibly both. But the general thought being, I think it's shitty that, like, Sam gets to, like, scrape the entire internet and then make the fastest growing app in the world by like completely ignoring copyright and then like asking for a $7 trillion loan, and then like everybody just being like, yeah, cool, dude, for sure, like keep doing whatever the fuck you want, because you've made a company and that is cool that people like or whatever. So like the sort of secondary pie in the sky goal is to try and give this little fucker a run for his money. But mostly it's like, let's shoot for doing both of those things, maybe do half of one, and if we end up being able to do half of one, then like we did something really cool and good, and we learned a lot of shit along the way. I'm familiar with grass, actually. Yeah, I run a grass node. um, there's a couple of projects doing that actually, where Masa, Grass, and then Masa also has a BitTensor subnet, but all of them are doing some amount of, let's have you kind of manually scrape whatever sites you're going to, and ideally, kick you back a couple of tokens to it, which is cool. And I think more people should. I don't know. Like I'm mixed on it. Like it's good that, because like it's gonna get done anyway, right? Like eventually, like either like Google is gonna install that shit directly into my browser, and I'm not gonna be able to turn it off, or like I'm gonna be able to at least willingly download a grass node and maybe get a couple of tokens for it. So like scraping in general is kind of like middle of the road, but the more things that we can do, like as like just like people, rather than just like waiting for Anthropic to release the next thing that we get to pay out the nose for, the better. Is kind of where my head's at least. So what we are doing today, or what today's project has been, was there is I don't know if it's really hit the like AI influencers space yet, but there's been a little bit of buzz about a project called Entropics that like they have a couple of things that maybe have like a potential to be doing some really cool shit, but mostly it's that they are, rather than looking at model training or prompting, they're looking at sampling, which is another step in like how you make models like talk, basically. Like super quick version, when GPT is picking the next thing to say to you, what it's actually doing is it's taking like the entire corpus of the entire internet, and converting that into like a whole shitload of numbers, and then trying to find like the numbers that are closest to what it thinks are the ones you should give, or that it should give you, and then converting that back into words. The step where it picks those numbers out as to like which ones are the ones it should convert to words, that's the sampling step. And basically everybody's just been ignoring that part entirely when they're trying to like soup their models up and make them good and shit. So that leaves it to us on the internet to fuck around with that shit and find out, and then ideally license it LGPL so that OpenAI doesn't get to yank it immediately, but the Entropics folks they're doing it like MIT, because they don't have as much of a chip on their shoulder as I do, which is probably the right thing to do. But I am starting from a baseline of, okay, like let's presume that's a cool and good thing to do. Let's see if we can fit it into something that will work in a distributed setting, and then let's see like how much gas we can crank into it. So today we were looking at something called Sage Attention, which is a paper from like a week or two ago. That I don't know if you I don't even know if these memes like translate outside of AI ML. It's weird, dude. It's weird being in like the space of Web3 and the space of AI at the same time, because there's inside jokes in both sides that like the other one doesn't get. So it's like I don't know who knows which meme came from where. It's kind of fun. But there is a at this point kind of a meme, but also a seminal paper that was very influential called "Attention is All You Need." That is part of how ChatGPT works, and one of the things in that sort of like how the AI works is it needs to pay attention to these numbers that it's changing back into words and changing back into numbers, etc., just like we do. But since it is powered by a graphics card and not a stupid meat brain, the paying of that attention costs like $7 trillion if you want to do it on the scale that Sam is doing it. So there are ways to make that attention cheaper and better, and this is one that came out last week that I wanted to see if I could put it into Entropics, but then I tried to download fucking CUDA, and that's how far we got today. But I will set some time aside, I think, prior to stream next week, and make sure I'm all installed and set up, because I don't know if you've ever tried to write Python. The least complicated thing about writing Python is writing Python, and everything else is a fucking nightmare. So hopefully I will get all the nightmare shit out of the way, and then we can just do some like normal Python writing. But since we don't have it, I will, I guess, like sneak peek a little bit here. Oh, but I can't because I haven't installed Sage Attention. Fuck. Well, I'll just show you what we're gonna do. It's another kind of like hot topic is Cursor. I am obnoxiously contrary and had one bad experience with their product, so now I refuse to use it entirely, and instead I ripped everything out of it and put it into my NeoVim, because I use Vim, by the way. And this is a utility that I can go, hey, can you replace the attention mechanism in this repo with one called Sage Attention? Presume. So normally it can just figure this out, but since I couldn't install it, it's not going to be able to see it. So I'm probably just going to revert this change, but I want to see what it'll do. I need to double check what this looks like. Just like what the thingy. Let me see. I want like a quick description of like cool, but like give me a little bit more. I need to give this thing something to work with. I think the main README had something, didn't it? How to use. Let's do. Let's just go. Let's like copy paste this. See what it does. M A. Oh fuck. I think it's this, isn't it? Fuck. I forget. Okay, we'll just manually type it in. Presume that it is a package we can install from PyPy that okay, I hope I can paste this in. We'll see. That can be called as follows. Okay, this might fuck it up. We'll see. Okay, we're good. It's just an example. I currently do not have it installed, but could you propose an implementation plan by making some assumptions about its functionality, which is similar to flash attention 3, which may be in your training data. I don't know if telling them that actually does anything, but I like to say it. And attempting to modify the code base to implement what you imagine it might be to the best of your ability. So this is what this is going to do. Scan the repo. It's going to look at the files that I have open, and I don't have the right file open actually right now. So I wonder if it's going to figure it out. So it's going to sit here for a while because this uses 3 different models. What it does, first step, is it will take the repo, it will make a map of the whole repo, then it'll take my question, and then it will take some supplemental information, and it will feed all of that to O1 preview. So O1 preview, it's not showing me right now, but it is doing the thing that if you go on ChatGPT and you like type to O1 preview, you can see it like thinking about stuff, right? If you haven't tried it, go try it, it's fun. But I'm calling it from the API, now it's done thinking. And it cost me 50 cents for that frickin' message, dude. That's crazy. But the reason I use O1 preview here is because I want to get the juice from it thinking, but I don't want it to write all of, I don't want it to think every time it changes a line of code, right? So the way this is set up is it will ask O1 preview to think for a while and then make a plan. And we got a big long plan because O1 is a fucking yapper. And then if I think the plan is good, then I will say, yep, go ahead, and then it will call Claude. And Claude will make these actual code changes such that it doesn't, hopefully, doesn't like fuck up and start making up things with like a model that's too dumb or like take forever because it's calling a model that's like needlessly smart to do a thing that really is just like, you know, like normie work. So like the senior engineer here is O1 preview, the junior engineer is Claude. And then after that, I just use a free model from OpenRouter that is the like intern for the junior engineer. And what it does is like update the docs and write the commit messages and just like the stuff that's like pretty hard to fuck up. And so Cursor could do all of this, but it would be a bit more work. This is an application called Aider, and there is a plugin for NeoVim called aider.nvim. And then this is running Aider in architect mode. This is not, I think, the best way to just do coding in general, but this is a pretty good configuration for like making sweeping changes to multiple files across the repo. So let me see, I want to see what it's, install it, import it, replace it with Sage Attention. If you're, okay, so the reason it's saying if you're is because the only file I gave it was the sampler. I didn't give it anything about how the attention actually works. Uses attention scores. Since Sage Attention may not provide these scores, you'll need to modify calculate metrics, which is the kind of thing that O1 is going to think about. Like, if it's just a model that's trying to tell you what you want to hear, it's probably not going to catch weird shit like this. Which is why like having O1 be the architect is really nice. Funnily enough, in this, like when you benchmark this, DeepSeek Coder 2.5, or is it 2? Whatever the most recent DeepSeek Coder is, actually does better than Claude. which I don't think is normally the case in terms of most benchmarks, but like in this specific scenario, it is, which is kind of cool. Um, and it's also free, which I probably should like go grab it. I just, or well, no, calling the API isn't free. DeepSeek still charges you, but it's probably cheaper than Anthropic, so I probably should swap over. So we're going to have to adjust our attention scores. We're going to have to update the sample function. We have a before and after. Ensure all the references are removed or replaced. So that might have been a bit of a task for a human, but I can just like tell it to crawl the repo and fix them all, which is kind of nice. Sampler config to remove, but we need, the thing is, so if I was actually doing this, I might throw this back and be like, hey, we actually need to keep all this shit because Entropics doesn't work unless you have all these. Related to Logit's entropy and varientropy. Oh, nice job, O1. So it is attempting to keep the stuff that Entropics needs because it has seen the rest of the tree of the repo. Adjust, okay. So yeah, we're going to need to modify that. That checks out to me. Modify the scoring function. Yep. After test. Update docs. Summary. Key changes. Notes. Since it optimizes, it's common that... Oh, I wonder if that's going to be an issue. I guess we'll see. But I will let it edit the files, and then we will commit it just as like a demo commit, but we'll probably revert it later. I just want to... Yes. Do it. And then so now it's calling Claude to go ahead and go make those edits. Unless it broke, which it certainly could be the case, but we'll see. And then after it's done making those edits, although I think it should be asking me to add a couple of things to the window because it doesn't have model right now, but it's going to try to edit it, I think. So we will see. And then after it's done, it's going to call the free OpenRouter model to write the commit message. That should update it. So, thankfully, because I am both lazy and dumb, I can offload the majority of this, like, theoretically doable by one person who kind of knows what they're doing, software work to almost entirely models, and I just have to kind of like review it and make sure that it's not crazy, and then inevitably get stuck in like some debug loop where Claude changes a variable and doesn't tell me, which you know, just 2024 things, I guess. But yeah, this'll be in my fork of Entropics. I don't know, maybe I'll oh shit. Alright, cool. Applied edit to sampler.py. Nice job. Okay. Let's see. Is it going to try to do... Yes, I would like to do that. Okay. Vim still fucks me up sometimes. Yes. So now it's going to try and add model.py because it knows it needs to edit it. And then Claude's going to take a crack at it. And then, if all of those diffs are correct, then it'll actually apply them. But if Claude starts making shit up, it'll kick it back to him and yell at him. So we will see how that goes. Now this is still like, you probably should still know what you're doing, and you probably should still be able to understand all the code that gets generated. But sometimes you can kind of get away with like checking on all of these explanations and like, so you know, checking docs. Like you still want to sanity check it, right? And or the thing that you want to do is have good tests and make sure they continue to pass after the model is finished doing stuff, and then also like read everything that it did. But I'm not doing that because I just want to kind of wrap this up here before we move on too much farther. Um, but yeah, this is just kind of a thing that I like to do on Sundays, and it sort of started as a let's try and implement a paper, just to like be good at implementing papers. Um, and is somewhat morphed into like, okay, can we find the right collection of papers and like implement them all in a row to like make the thingy go vroom vroom. Um, so if that's something that is of interest to you, um, this is not in Prometheus' server, but it's in my server, which there should be a link to in my bio, where we do hackathons sometimes, in general, like, I don't know, like sometimes, there was a while where we were doing mostly hackathons. Now I think like this is kind of the thing of interest, and like I don't know, it's basically just like where I keep stuff that's interesting to do. So if you are inclined to um, do things like want to implement a research paper, or kind of like learn how to program some of this stuff, or like want to kind of poke around at the hackathon game, or check out like re- educational resources, because I try to put those there where I can find them, then you can join the link in the profile. I will stipulate that my server does not have any, while it is a server of mine, and I do happen to be, the only official training I have is Web3 Dev. The rest has just been figuring it out. There are currently no active Web3 components of my personal server. But if you want to like fuck around with shit and build shit, then come through. And I usually am like hanging out and chat while I do this and or stream whatever else too. So KV Cache? What are we doing with the KV Cache? Fuck it, dude. I'm not even gonna read. Freestyle, baby. Let's go. Do it, Claude. Fuck up my KV Cache. I don't care. I don't think it usually does this though. But that's the kind of annoying thing, and like why I don't. So this one is for bigger changes, and I kind of don't want to bounce the mouse around too much because it might fuck it up, because it fucks it up sometimes. But I also have another one where if I'm like, oh, this thing is wrong, I can go like AE, and I can be like, fix this because it's broken, and then I can just like see what Claude thinks about it, shit like that. Basically, should do this with Azure. I mean, let's see. Yeah, basically like, okay, let me edit the files. Yes, yeah. You know, actually, that might not be a bad idea, because I know, I have been advocating for Promi to get more into software development, because it's a lot easier these days than it used to be. It's still not easy, and you still need to learn. And if you're just generating code, please also try to learn what it's doing, because I don't want a GitHub 2 years from now that is just filled with garbage that no one can understand. Like, please do your due diligence. But if you just want like cool shit to appear, and then you want to figure it out later how it worked, or if you want to get stuck in an endless loop of fighting with the model to stop making shit up, then yeah, using tools like these. Cursor is the most popular one. I want to tell people to go straight to NeoVim, but NeoVim is a little bit hard to get used to at first. Once you get used to it, it is objectively better in every possible way and the best text editor in the universe. But, and as you can see, refactor, adjust KV cache and attention for stage attention compatibility. So that's the shitty little model doing that. And I can use /undo to undo and discard each aider commit. So after it does this big change, it's going to commit that to GitHub. And if I go and review it and it massively fucked some shit up, I can go back in here and /undo and it'll just undo the whole thing, which is kind of nice. And then if I keep it, it's also nice because that means every time code got changed in the repo, there's always a commit that always has a thing that says like what was done during it. So it's good for like keeping track of your progress and shit too. The kind of annoying thing, but also the secretly good thing, I think if I, and then I go Q. The kind of annoying thing and also the secretly good thing. So let's actually go take a look at KV cache. See what happened here. And then can I do, there should be a way to do this. Can I do a, let me get a status. Let me do lazy git router. Okay, so we have these three refactors. And we can see that they're all marked with aider. So we know what the robot changed. And then what we're going to do here is we are going to, what do we do? I think we can just, what's the thing? Is it up here? Discard, reset, stage. So we're going to stage, is there like a stage all? Key bindings, please. Stage all. Can I just like commit changes using base commit? Let me scroll down this here. Let's see. State, port, sound wave. Can you speak on V0, bolt, or continue compared to aider? There are far too many to track. Mind you, it is 93% Greek to me, but I'm on my learning path. Based. Stay on your learning path, bro. They are all great tools. What I would generally advise is try out tools. Figure out which one like feels good, and then really learn how that one works. And then if you are using that one and you run into a thing that it can't do or is really janky to do with it, then go looking around for another tool, because I am very guilty of this. There are so many tools, and they are all so cool and shiny, and I want to go play with all of them, but that results in me having only a surface level knowledge of a whole shitload of tools that all work differently, instead of a single solid tool chain that I'm really good at. So I'm like less productive overall. But for me, aider has been a mainstay of my toolbox pretty much the whole time, even while I was using Cursor actually, because I like to use, this was before Cursor had the composer mode. So when I was doing single file edits with Cursor, I would just do that little thing you saw me do earlier where I highlight the thingy. And then when I had big plans, I would make a bunch of to-dos, and then I would go over to aider and be like, do all the to-dos. There we go. A, stage all, please. Can I, okay. It's this, right? And then if I go A, and then we go commits, post stream commits, see aider changes. And so this is going to main branch on mine, and then we can push, right? We are already up to date. Cool. And then if we go here, if we quit out of this, and then now, can I do get, and can I see current file history? Can I look at the KV cache? Okay, and now I can see what all the changes were. So this is why you should use git. It's very useful. So this stuff went away, and now I can look at this stuff And I can even get spicy, I think. Yeah, I can even get spicy, and I can go A. Oh, no. I was wondering if I could use my, I was wondering if in the diff, if I could use the little chat guy, but I guess I can't. I thought I could, but as you can see, like, we had, okay, so we were doing it this way, and we were doing Jack's Lax dynamic update slice, and then now it's just doing, like, okay, we're updating the cache of the current position, and this is doing some stuff where it's checking current position. So my hunch here is that something will be fucked up and not work. But I kind of expected that because Ader is currently blind a little bit, because the stuff is not installed, and it doesn't know, it can't see the thing that I told it to edit the thing to make it work. So I installed a package, but I couldn't install the package because I have to download it. So Ader can't see it, but I'm like, hey Ader, like, just guess and figure it out. So I'm probably gonna end up reverting this, but I just sort of wanted to show how it works, I guess. Yeah, no problem. Frickin' keep learning, man. It's good shit. It's never been a better time to, like, start getting into shit and making shit. You can make shit and just let AI carry you completely, and you can still make shit. Like, you can make shit that you can actually, like, sell to people even. I would advise, like, not doing that all the time only, which I guess you could do, and you could just wait for the models to get good enough where they can just, like, do everything instantly, if you presume that they will get there at some point or another. But what they're really good at is, like, A, doing a bunch of shit at once, B, reading a bunch of shit at once, and then C, being, like, a teacher or tutor that will never ever judge you, and you can just ask whatever stupid shit is going through your head about the thing, and it won't be like, you're a fucking idiot, get out of my class. It will be like, certainly, allow me to assist you with this. And that alone, like, even just, like, the extra asking of the questions opportunity, I think is super valuable too. But I guess that is time in round for Basement AGI Club. And yeah, I might chat with Promi and see if he wants to maybe do a little pairing sesh or something, and see if I can have him not just be prompting the Azure, but actually get into a little bit of coding with the Azure to see if we can make her do the talkies, because I think that could be fun and educational, and something I've been trying to get the guy to do for ages. So maybe it'll be a good excuse. But anyway, thank everybody for watching. I gotta check the thing. Yeah, you think so? I think it would be dope. It'd be pretty fun. Because I like to do me some. I actually mostly stream just to make myself feel obligated to write code, because I never fucking write code. So it's all, yeah. Crypto is actually super interesting too. Like, what? I guess not to ramble too much, but one of the reasons why I like doing crypto development is because when you're using DevNet and testnet, you actually move all the tokens around. So, like, if I'm, like, writing code on something and I need to go test if it works, like, normally if I'm writing regular code, I just, like, run the test and see if it passes. But if with crypto, I, like, go to my actual crypto wallet, flip it over to DevNet, and, like, move the bajillion dollars around, and it's fun to see the numbers move. So it's like, that was the thing that helped me be able to, like, actually concentrate on coding, because I was getting the immediate, like, feedback, so my ADD brain wasn't like, this is boring. So it can be fun to do Web3 dev for that reason, and you get to be a testnet millionaire all the time, which is also fun. So highly would recommend. But yeah, you know, if, like, this is just a thing that I do and have been doing and will continue to do, and, like, if it's a thing that ties in with other projects or Web3 communities or any of the other shit that we're trying to do, then fantastic. You know, ideally everything is, like, feedback looping all on itself all together, and it's a wonderful time. But GG, thank you for stopping by this afternoon, and the next planned thing, I think, is what is the planned thing? I feel like I have a thing earlier in the week, but I actually don't. Oh yeah, on Mondays I usually go to. I haven't been streaming it lately, but I did ask if I could last time. I usually go to a thing on another social platform where people, it's called Investor Office Hours, and a couple of the guys from Techstars will give you feedback on your product pitch. So in the event that we, I don't know, do something like put a pitch deck together, if we want some VC money in our yucky little crypto corner of the internet, and want to make, see if you can get the big boys in, then maybe we can maybe sort of like, maybe even like as a community or whatever, start putting a pitch deck together, and then we can go shop it around on Mondays to the investor office hours and see what they think, and then get some feedback on that, iterate for a little bit, and then go knock on Mark's door or whatever, see what we can do. But till